Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and we are on that second tier, the decks that aren't quite top tier but are worth a look at. Today is Blue-Black God-Pharaoh's Gift. Although not as explosive as the blue-white counterpart, or quite as ridiculous as the red versions of God-Pharaoh's Gift, this deck, it's got some play to it, and the little black and blue critters provide a lot of utility, letting you do all kinds of interesting things with We are a Gate to the Afterlife deck, which means it is our objective to fill our graveyard with 6 creatures, so Gate to the Afterlife can go off. We have Minister of Inquiries and Stitcher Supplier doing work on the job. And then we've got a bunch of little utility dudes like Exclusion Mage and Kitesail Freebooter, Ravenous Chupacabra, and Hostage Taker, all doing work on our opponent's board whenever needed. So let's kick it up and see what's happening. Submerge Boneyard, perhaps some blue on black. Tears on a River, Push on a Shove, don't mean much. Joker on Jack. Match on a Fire? God, I'm trying to remember all these lyrics. Look up the song Blue on Black if you're completely like, what the heck is CGB doing trying to rap? What is this? By the way, check this out. Oh, he's running! He's faster now! They run away when you touch them. Scorpions are touchy, who knew? Our opponent has a very land-heavy hand, and they reveal their Revel in Riches strategy. I think we're perfectly capable of combating that. This is not a control deck. We do not try to play the long game. What we try to do is make a whole bunch of big old zombies with Gate to the Afterlife. But if that's not working, we're a mediocre beatdown deck at heart. So I'm not going to take the Revel in Riches away from my opponent's hand, even though it is a win con, because I don't expect them to ever get to really use it. It's a bit slower than the clock we can present if we get the Gate to the Afterlife going. We need to get a few more critters in the graveyard, but we have a Walking Ballista in our hand, which we can play for 0. Maybe I'll show you that in a minute. There's a Direfleet Hoarder. Here on end step, let's mill ourselves again with the Minister. And what are we at? 3 creatures in graveyard. Okay. So with 3 creatures in graveyard, I'll play this Champion of Wits. Take this action. I'll discard these cards because having a God-Pharaoh's Gift in hand isn't going to do any. Don't worry, we're going to get to the full 6 here, and then we can hold on to this. Maybe we'll play it next turn since we're not going to be able to use our gate this turn. And 1 attacker. I guess we'll go 2. We are, like I said, that mediocre beatdown deck, and if this dies, let's do it while we have the gate. Alright, we'll drop this off. We could loot these right now while the gate's on the battlefield, but I don't think that that's that important. And I'll show you what I mean by looting them next turn. Everybody go to the fair. For some reason that sound effect is a total tilt to me. So this might be a problem. It's a 5/5 indestructible. We're going to have to go up, over, and around it. We do have an Exclusion Mage, though. That can take care of it. Somewhere in our deck is Hostage Taker, which could exile the clue. So here's what we'll do with this turn. We'll play a Ballista for 1. Now, do we want to sack it now while we have the gate? I think so. Looting deeper in the library is perfectly fine. So we'll just fire it at the base to get the life gain and the loot. I'm looking for more gates. I'm looking for Trophy Mages, things that just keep this coming, or finding that Hostage Taker would be nice. We hit a Stitcher Supplier. I'm going to discard the other Walking Ballista. But what I meant by loot the Ballistas is you can play for them for 0 when you want to get things into your graveyard for free. Let's play out our land. Let's play out our Supplier. Maybe we'll still hit that Hostage Taker before we go get our God-Pharaoh's Gift. Looking around, looking around. All right. Now we'll sacrifice our Gate to the Afterlife, and we'll get the God-Pharaoh's Gift out of our deck because we don't really want to draw it off the top. Having one in the graveyard is fine because you can fetch it from the graveyard with your gate if you so wanted. And looking into this graveyard, I'll get the Exclusion Mage so we can keep the pressure on. Like I said, we're kind of a mediocre beatdown deck that turns into a very good beatdown deck when we get our God-Pharaoh's Gift action going. Yep. Got you to 10. What you gonna do now? And there's a Walking Ballista off the top of the deck. I don't think I have another use for mana. We could get back the Trophy Mage and go get another gift this turn. I don't think that's too important. I could just hold this though. Let's see. If he blocks here, he takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, should be game with whatever we get here. So overthinking it's kind of silly. But I'll get the Trophy Mage, just so he doesn't think I have a Ballista coming out after combat. Not that I think that that matters, but he does have 2 unknowns. Perhaps he has a removal spell he could use, but doesn't want to, because he doesn't want to give up the Lich. And the opponent's just going to scoop it up from there. And yeah, God-Pharaoh's Gift doing God-Pharaoh's Gift things. An interesting point about this deck is it is also a very, I would say, is it budget friendly? Let's have a quick look. We definitely need Champion of Wits, right? And you need 2 God-Pharaoh's Gift, and you need 2 Hostage Taker. So when we're going over the list, this is an uncommon, this is an uncommon, 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 rare, uncommon, 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 rare, rare, and these are included with your starter set. So yeah, this certainly can be looked at as a budget build. We've got 4 rare cards here, 8 rare cards total. Your Champion of Wits are definitely playable in other places. Once you have your God-Pharaoh's Gifts, they're playable in all kinds of places. You can build a lot of different God-Pharaoh's Gift decks with almost any color combination. Hostage Taker is the only one that's pretty specific to this build, but it's also making some appearances in Scarab God type decks. As we go down here, we're looking at a mana base that does have the 4 Drowned Catacombs and 4 Fetid Pools. I don't think you need them, though, to play the deck. These can certainly be Submerged Boneyards. It's just about playing the best mana base you can when you're trying to go out there and compete. But without a doubt, I think that if you are a free-to-play player or a budgeted player, you already know that you have to make the best with a less than rare mana base. Alrighty, a very straightforward deck. You might be wondering why no Scarab God, because Scarab God kind of... There's an old argument in Magic about Baneslayers and Muldrifters. All creatures, they say, are either Baneslayer Angels or Muldrifters. Baneslayer Angels are things that you cast that can win the game if they don't die. Muldrifters are things that you cast, and whether it dies or not, you get something from it. Muldrifter says you draw 2 cards when it comes into play. Baneslayer Angel, I think you know. Let's do it like this. All creatures are either Champion of Wits or they are Lyra Dawnbringers. Champion of Wits you get something from whether it dies after you play it or not. You get to draw 2 and loot 2, and if your deck's into that, it's a very useful ability. And Lyra Dawnbringer, if somebody just plays something like a Ravenous Chupacabra and kills it, you never get anything out of it, really. You just spent 5 mana and threw it in the graveyard and nothing really happened. This deck is full of Muldrifters. All the cards are meant to do something at a very low cost, whether they die later or not. Whereas Scarab God, you really have to be using the ability to get the most out of the Scarab God. And the fact that you would pay 5 mana for it, then untap it and pay 4 more, when you could be playing more Muldrifters and continuing to push your gate to the Afterlife game, I think that that's why this deck can ignore Scarab God and do things the way it does it. Alrighty, let's continue. By the way, I lost my keynote speaker up here. Get in there. TED Talks, you're on. Alright, let's go get some more games. What you're really looking for in an opening hand is a gate to the Afterlife or a Trophy Mage, enough mana to play them, and enough little creatures to at least pressure and bother the opponent. You can fill your graveyard up while disrupting your opponent a little with freeboots, things of that nature. So this hand has a gate and a trophy. It doesn't have the mana for it, and it has 3 of our 1-drops that fill the graveyard. From this hand, I only need to find 1 more land to have an ideal hand. And we're on the draw, which gives us more looks at it. So I'm going to keep it. I think I would keep it on the play too, just because we're only a land off of an ideal starting hand. So Black Mana first, Stitcher's Supplier first, because this would come into play tapped. Next turn we can Stitcher's Supplier and Minister, and our graveyard will be poppin'. It'll be the hottest nightclub in the Dimir Guild. Alright, send the beats before I reveal anything else about my hand. Alright, Stitcher's Supplying. Our opponent doesn't have blue mana, so I don't need to worry about the sequencing of the land first to watch out for a censor, which is the main reason I play my lands first in these situations. Alright, and then we follow out with Minister. This might draw some kind of a removal spell, but at this point, if I'm the opponent, I'm thinking, well, I can't stop him from filling this graveyard, so maybe I should ignore that Minister. What I'm wondering is Chain Whirler. Fiery Cannonade. I mean, that's another way to do it. I guess our opponent couldn't afford them pricey Chain Whirlers, and we do rip the land right on time. Let's drop a gate. The opponent has to answer it right away, or else we most certainly get to activate it next turn. Oh yes, indeed. Indeed we do. Champion of Wits is the prime target I see in my graveyard right this minute. Kitesail Freebooter, and they left mana up. It could be to use an Abrade. So I'm trying to decide if I should go at their hand, and I think I will. I think I will check their hand. Since they don't have me under pressure, I can take my time making this gate thing work. If they respond by abrading my gate, then I still have a gift in my graveyard and another gate in my hand. But let's get an idea of what we're up against. Our opponent's going to Lightning Strike down the Freebooter. That's going to loot. Land? Oh, I really wanted it. Yeah, I think just spamming these is fine, and discarding the Champion of Wits is fine, but the Trophy Mage seems pretty unnecessary. Hold on. It actually really matters here if the last gate... Yes, the last gate to the Afterlife is in my graveyard, meaning Trophy Mage can't fetch anything, so it makes Trophy Mage an easy discard. Our opponent does not have an Abrade. They have a lot of big red mana things. Chandra, particular, hanging out.
It's my turn. Yup, you're going down.
So our opponent on some massive burn type strategy, like big kid burn, I would say. Let's go into the library. Let's grab a gift. Let's go to combat. And because the ground is clear right now, I'm thinking of taking a Gifted Aetherborn. Gain some life as well. I want to take the Freebooter, but not until... It's better if I save it until I have something I need to fly over, as it'll just get fought with fire at the moment. I think that gaining some life is perfectly fine. Let's get that Chandra. Die, Chandra, die.
Oh, now you're asking for it.
And here's a Minister. Now let's see how our opponent uses their Chandra. They can make a lot of mana. They can fight with fire off the Aetherborn, which I think they have to do. Letting the lifelinker sit around is just going to make their life worse and worse over time. And there it is. Fire has been fought with. But what will our opponent do with the rest of their... they're going to make mana.
Today's my lucky day.
Okay. They can play another Lightning Strike or a Fight with Fire. They do have a mystery card. Maybe they have a Pianalar, something to get in the way. Oh. Well, Can't say I love that as a player. I'm like, might have wanted to do something with that mana. All right, I'm going to play second gate, prepare for second gift. Also lets me loot if something happens to my minister. Looking at this graveyard, I think we'll bring out another Gifted Aetherborn. Why not? We'll move to the attack step. We'll send you a Chandra, we'll hold you back. You can keep milling my graveyard to make sure I have more Gifted Aetherborns to keep fetching over and over and over. Spit Flame. Opponents showing that they went a little deeper on the dragon style than we're seeing right now. Aether Hub off the top. Another minister in the graveyard. We could get a Champion of Wits this turn. I actually like my hand quite a bit, but getting more cards is never a bad thing. Kitesail Freebooter could come down. Our opponent only has 1 mana open, so it would definitely hit, and we could take away the Fight with Fire. I think I like that quite a bit, but we definitely want to spend 2 mana to get another gift. Alright, so first up, let's grab a Champion of Wits. Wow, Land City. We could get rid of this gate. There are no more gifts to get, but the life and the looting isn't the absolute worst. And I believe it's a May, right? You may, yep. So I'm gonna get rid of the hubs. I don't think I'm gonna need the energy anytime soon. And then on our next loot, let's grab that freebooter like I talked about. So we take the strike. It forces our opponent to use Fight with Fire on the freebooter if they want to get rid of it. They do have some dragon power going, but we have Chupacabras in hand. I'm going to keep using my Minister of Inquiries to fill that graveyard so that I always, as much as I could possibly want to, have the certain cards. All right. The Gifted Aetherborns and the Freebooters are what I want the most. Wow, more land. There were 7 lands in a row there. I don't know if you caught that. We're going to sacrifice the Minister of Inquiries. Our opponent's seen enough. I'm going to scoop it up. They didn't know about the Chupacabra, but they certainly would find out soon. Alright, 2 down. I'll say another thing about this deck. In free play, it's second tier for a reason. I don't think it's really good enough to be that reliable for quick constructed. I think that it can 5-0 some Magic Online leagues and does so very well in the hand of somebody who really loves it, in the hands of somebody who plays it often, and the sideboard I think is actually very useful. So if you're doing best 2 out of 3, it feels like this is a good sideboard deck, black and blue. A lot of good sideboard cards right now. Negate, Duress go a long way in some of the stickier matchups. That said, playing this in free play seems to really cheat the matchmaking algorithm. And what I mean by that is you do not get paired against top tier decks very often, which also leads to kind of this thing where I don't get to test against top tier decks very often, which makes me wonder quite often how well the deck is. Now, you are playing with fire. I witnessed it firsthand today. When you lose to somebody who is a much lower rank than you, playing a deck that is a much lower rank, or much lower, I guess MMR is what they call it, than you, your rank plummets. That hasn't changed since the update. I watched my rank go from like way over here all the way down here. Now, I tell people not to watch rank for a reason. I would prefer that none of you even cared about rank. I do my best to do the same, but I know many of you do. So talking about it a little bit is, in my opinion, part of my responsibility as a content creator, so that those of you who do find rank important to you have an idea of what to expect. All right, little sermon-y, little preachy there, but We got it out. Hopefully we're all still here. We're all still together. We have not found a gate to the Afterlife yet this game. So I think it's clearly a situation where we need to use Champ of Wits to try to go find one. More land. I also don't know if I'm supposed to freeboot this opponent. Anyway, next turn we can cycle this land and play a freebooter if I keep the right things. And do I want more energy? I guess I do not. I don't have a minister on the battlefield. But this Knight of Grace, Hexproof from black, first strike, means Gifted Aetherborn can't get in there. We could be throwing in the Citrus Supplier, but I don't really like that right now since I don't have much to do with my graveyard without a gate available. Nope, I think I'm brick-walled by this Knight, so we have to hope it attacks, or we're sitting back building up mana and trying to get our Champion of Wits out. Okay. Well, I will block you with my Supplier. Fill that yard, baby. Yep, I mean, that's fine. And still no gates. And the opponent passes the turn. What's cooking? Seal away, perhaps? Let's get a good look and find out. This is where having a freebooter feels good. Feels oh so good. Does feel like a seal away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Show me I'm right. Oh yeah, wow, look at this hand. Well, if I take the seal away, what happens next turn? Our opponent plays the Benalia. Benalia is a problem. The Heart of Kirin is also a big problem. We do have to put together our God-Pharaoh's gift thing, though, and the biggest problem to that right now is this cast out. Taking the cast out could really help us make God-Pharaoh's gift go off when we find it. Since that is the point of our deck, I feel like it's a smart play. Yeah. If our opponent also continues to hold up the seal away, we have to be pretty happy about that. So I'm not going to attack into the seal away. Our opponent will probably play Benalia now and not attack with the Knight. Or at least that's how I'd play it, but who knows? Let's see what they do. They do have a number of options. The Heart of Kirin could be a thing. They go with the sword. So +2/+0, Vigilance. A Knight in addition to its type. So this with Vigilance is pretty scary. Whenever it attacks, create a 2/2 token with Vigilance that's attacking. That's not scary. The 2/2 token runs into Gifted Aetherborn. I gain 2 life every time that happens. So I actually don't know if this is what I would call the play for the opponent. Let's see if they decide to attack here before we... Let's keep our mana open, see if that messes with them a little. Oh my, I'm actually very surprised. Opponent with a pretty aggressive line. We get to go right back in there and gain this life back, so I'm going to say no blockers. Again, it opens up seal away, but that kind of takes a turn away from them, in a way. Anyway, all the way. Let's cycle again. We're still looking for that gate, and we found it. We actually found it. Yeah, seal away. We don't want to attack with the freebooter, but if they're going to spend their turn sealing away the Champ or the Aetherborn, that's okay. How's our graveyard looking? It's got 6. All right, let's send them. Actually, since I'm okay blocking, I'll just send the Aetherborn for the life. Maybe our opponent will choose to seal it away. Then the Champion of Wits can block the Knight of Grace or a token if the sword is equipped. And we'll get a loot and a life out of the deal from the gate. I'm curious what you would have taken with the freebooter, if you want to talk about that in comments, if you think I was wrong. I think I made the kind of long-term thinking of this is what my deck does, so I should take the thing that messes with what my deck does. We did have an option here of blocking with the Freebooter, then getting it back next turn with the gift, but I kind of like keeping the cast down and lockdown and keeping my options with the gift open. I also love getting Champion of Wits. It's hard for me to deny. We also have to remember anything we get can be sealed away. So let's look at the graveyard. What do we need most? An Exclusion Mage gets rid of that Knight. That would be... There's only one of them in the deck, so finding it may be very hard. But I'm thinking about using this Rivulet to try to find it. Another thing that would be nice is a Freebooter to take that seal away. And there is a Freebooter. And it's not like we're behind in the race too much. So yeah, I think we're taking a Freebooter, which means I don't feel like I need to use the Rivulet. I can cycle the Fetid Pools instead. Let's do that first, though. Let's cycle the Pools first. See what we see. Might change things. You never know. Alright. Now we'll grab free boots. Now remember, Hexproof and Black means that the Chupacabra can't get this card. Okay, we get up in there. Radiant Destiny, Heart of Curon, Seal Away, History of Benalia. Let's take the Seal away. Away, away, away from here I'll be. Alright, let's get in there. We'll bring an Error Clock, which makes our opponent want to play Heart of Curon. When they play the Heart of Curon, we may have to... We don't really want to trade that much, but maybe we can mess with it somehow. Again, finding the Exclusion Mage would do the job, and a Hostage Taker would exile it. So there's a few ways that we can take care of the Heart of Curon if our opponent plays it. The Knight of Grace also has First Strike, so it's important to remember that the Death Touch creature can't kill it. If we block it, or if it blocks the Aetherborn will die before it deals damage, so the Death Touch or the Lifelink won't matter. Which is why the Aetherborn's just chilling right now. There's the Heart. Now we have to find an answer to the Heart. Opponent coming in, making a 2/2. We'll block over here for the reasons I pointed out. We'll take 5 damage, but we'll gain back 2 life from our Aetherborn. So we're hanging tough. Alright. So we want as many looks at Hostage Taker as possible to get as close to ending this game as possible. So let's mill ourselves. We could also bring back a Champion of Wits to look for, and then another champion to look for, but it's actually more looks to sacrifice 2 Rivulets if we go that route. Alright, here we go. And now the gift goes off, and I don't see a Hostage Taker at all. We do have another God-Pharaoh's gift still. Let me make sure that in our graveyard aren't all the gates. 1 gate. Okay. So, yeah. Let's get the Trophy Mage. Take that action and go get another gate. And what that does is it means if we have to or decide to chump with a Freebooter, then our opponent gets the cast out, but we can get another God-Pharaoh's gift, so we're not without our gift. I'm going to send in this Freebooter. If our opponent wishes to block it and get back their seal away, they are welcome to at this point. And I will get another Freebooter in a future date, as there is another one down there. I will take the seal away back, as we have no other tapped creatures. And it gets our opponent's Heart of Curon off the battlefield. It was interesting that we could also have attacked with the Aetherborn and the opponent would have to choose between crewing Heart of Kirin or taking 4 in the air. But I would still rather not give up the Aetherborn that way. We can always get it back as a 4/4, but my plan right now is to keep getting back either things that clear the air or create more damage in the air, is the way I want to do it. Our opponent's mana choked a bit, having some issues getting their lands to cooperate. They've drawn plenty of cards that sync right up in the Tribal Knight deck, but they haven't been able to get much footing because they've only been able to play 1 spell a turn. They particularly lost a lot of tempo on this sword, which is a reason I don't like cards like this very much. They had to pay 3 mana to play it and 3 mana to equip it. That's 2 turns where they didn't get to unload cards from their hand, and that's why they're having a pretty hard time on the battlefield. All right, let's go get another gift. And let's mill 3. Let's use 1. Let's look around. So I definitely want to get the Freebooter. And I guess the rest can be this Champion of Wits. The other, I suppose, can be this Champion of Wits. There's a Hostage Taker. Okay. Well, Hostage Taker can't target the Knight, but it can target the sword. I still don't think that's good enough, though. I think I should save it for another Heart of Kirin. So I'll discard these. And now, with my next trick, more freebooting, more air raid. Benelish Marshal and Metallic Mimic. Our opponent's on full-blown Knights. All the Knight synergy. So if we attack with our zombies, our opponent can block and kill 1. Say they kill this. Then their other blocks aren't very good, and they might have to take 6 damage. So am I willing to throw away a zombie in this spot for 6 damage? I think so. So if our opponent blocks here, they're already taking 5. They'll be at 6. They have to throw away their other Knight. Yeah. Oops. I think it through, and then I do I miss the click. Life happens. Bear with me, folks. Just an amateur Magic player. I'm trying to make high-level content, and every now and then punting it away. Part of the fun, I hope. Part of the viewing experience. What's really important is that I knew the right play. I can work on the mechanics. I can work on my button pressing. Don't beat yourself up if you misclick playing Arena. It's not worth it. So our opponent's not going to be able to put up anything in the air here. What that means is that with this 5 damage in the air, it's lethal if we also get a Walking Ballista and put a counter on it. So all we have to do is go to combat, get a Walking Ballista, put a counter on it with our mana, attack in the air. Game over, man. Game over. Land for turn. Move to combat. Get me a Ballista. And get me, I guess, just something that doesn't have triggers so it doesn't slow the game down. Attack. You guys. Damage. And pa-ping. Pew, 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 pew. Alright, I think we've shown pretty much what the black-blue God-Pharaoh's Gift deck does. Interesting mix of disruption while throwing in a combo element. Let's have a bonus pack opening for the day as we start our week. Rub it up good. What do we get? Cleansing Nova. Oh god, this would have also been a 6 sealed pack with Murder, Lightning Strike, and Cleansing Nova. We'd be able to do all kinds of things in sealed. Of course, sealed not a format in Arena at this time, but will be someday. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you try out Blue Black God-Pharaoh's gift and like it. If you do, remember to leave me a comment. Tell me about it. Also, tell me your thoughts on if you do things differently. I'm always open to it. I read them. I appreciate them. And thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with Tribal Times. Not going to tell you what deck yet, but we'll have a tribal theme deck to have fun with. And remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.